Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do a video about how I tie up a stick float rig. It's one of my favourite methods of catching fish. Not particularly selective, but it gets you a bite on cold winter's days on the river, and it's really enjoyable seeing the float go under and working the swim and really thinking about what you're doing and how you're feeding, and if you get bored just sat behind a rod waiting for the tip to go round, then I'll show you how to tie a stick float rig. Right, I keep all my stick floats on these pole winders. I think they're 26cm ones. A lot of my fishing, I only go for 2-3 hours, and I don't want to be sitting around on the bank fighting about. So I've got a float tube of all these set up ready to go. I don't always put hooks on them, and then I just pick a hook what I need. So these are the stick floats that I'm going to be using today. I think, oh, it's going the wrong way. These are Preston Innovations. Oh, it's not focusing, apologies for that. But it's a shouldered stick. These are, they're quite hard to find, these ones. And then there's, where are they? I've got some Dave Harrell ones. I'm starting to quite like these. These are a little bit longer. These are alloy shouldered sticks. So today I'm going to do 2 8No. 4 I'm starting to like the yellow tops a little bit better. My eyes are getting a bit, it is quite hard work watching them all day. So what you're going to need, a stick float, some float rubbers, apologies if that's a clear one, you might not see, the old Seymour loop tyre, because I'm going to make a pre-retired rig. This is my favoured reel line, £3 Maxima, strong as a boat rope that is. I pulled in a 27.5 carp with that the other day, and some shot. Oh, and these little bad boys. I think I can get one. They're Clarisso hook link adapters. They're very handy. So look, they've got a little thing there, and you just pull that over. So that I have on my hook length. Yeah, let's have a go. These are the hook link adapters by Kralusu. Apologies, I can't pronounce that very well. Right, we're going to start off with the £3 Maxima and tie a loop in the end. So form a loop, grasp the loop, swivel, turn and in, give it a bit of a wet. I have explained how to do this on another video. Oh, there's a little loop there, I haven't had that before. Might tie that one again later. Right, just trim that off. So generally, most of the rivers I fish are only like 3 or 4 foot deep. So I tend to take 2 arm lengths of Maxima. Sorry, I'm off camera, just see my shadows. So I've got 2 arm lengths of Maxima, and then that's my the length of my rig that I'll tie up on the bank when I'm ready. I'll have set up on these, and then I'll just tie it with a blood knot, and away you go. So yeah, we've got this 8No. 4. I tend to use the 8No. 4s more than most. They just tend to be a little bit more weight about them. Sometimes, like, it might only be a 3 or 4 foot deep swim, but you need a bit more weight to control the float a little bit. But I don't want too much shot down the line, because I tend to have a strung out shotting pattern of number 8s. So yeah, 1 rubber at the top, 3 down the stem. I always put 3 on, and the last one that sits on the bottom of the float just needs to be a bit longer, so it covers over the float and doesn't catch the line. Because quite often, what I was saying about with the weight down the line, because I don't want to be tying up 20-30 different number 8s, which sometimes for an 8No. 4 you would, I'll put a couple of number 6s in there, so put that in the top. The important thing to note when you're doing this, just try and make sure, oh no, just try and make sure all the lines up. So we'll get that one on there. What I mean by that is as it travels through the float rubbers, it doesn't have a twist in it, because you're going to be adjusting this all day, just moving for bites and trying to tempt these chub and roach and stuff to have a go. So if you're moving that up and down and it's got a twist in it, see like there, that's it, just got a twist in it, it's going to cause trouble. Something that you've got to do as well is just, when you're doing all this work, down on the bottom of the line there, is to do the work on the bottom of the line, because I am damaging this line here, definitely, pushing this on with my nails and bending it and scratching it, and I'm going to put all the shot on like that. And it was a good little video I saw from Alan Scott on when he was putting lead weights on the line. He'd pinch them all on the bottom, and I'll show you what we do in a minute. Pinch them all on the bottom, right? So if you get about half of that on there like that, so then that acts as like a boom, pushes that out, stops tangles. If you have a little bit of the alloy stem showing, it tends to tangle. And I don't know whether you can see, like there's a slight kink in that line there at the bottom. So then we slide this up the line. I'd only do it about 3 or 4 foot. And then, so that's on there, all nice. Just if you can see the line coming down here and down there, all in a straight line. Now at this point, I'm going to talk to you about back shots. I quite like using back shots. I don't use them routinely, but when you're going down the river, quite often the flow isn't consistent. So here I've just got a little number 6, and that's about 5-6 inches above the float. Number 6 is probably a bit too heavy, to be honest, but I've been using 2 number 8s and having them sort of 6-8 inches apart, and this just weights that line, and it stops the line travelling in front of the float and keeps the drift off. Useful bit of kit, because quite often you get a little kick in the line above the float, and it distorts the bite. So when you get a bite, you have to, a bit of the strike is behind the float. The other thing that's very useful is Vaseline or Michelin. You can see this is very old. There's a little skanky thing, it's right dirty. Little pad in there, like a wife's makeup pad, and you just grease that line above the float for probably at least the length of the float, the length of the rod, and then that keeps the line off the water. So yeah, that keeps the line off the water, and or helps it float on the water and it doesn't sink. And then when you need to mend the line to keep it straight as possible, I don't like to mend it too much because it can push the float off of kilter. So when you just mend the line, that Michelin or Vaseline just keeps it nice on the top. I have a few times used Preston bristle grease that you use for pole floats, for dipping your float in, that keeps it in the surface tension, but it's orange. It's really good because you can see where the line is. Sometimes the light conditions aren't quite right and you can't see where the line is, but that bristle grease is really good. You just see where the line is and away you go. You can really control the float nicely. Right guys, we've got our 8 number 4 stick float, and it's a bit of a palaver this is. It's nice to use lots of number 8s, but for a float like that, which is 8 number 4, is 1.6 grams, and a number 8 is 0.606. So I'd end up putting on, what's that, 10 is 60, 20 is 1.2. I'd end up putting best part of, God, yeah, I would put best part of 25 number 8s on it, and it is so tedious. And plus, when you're fishing the swim only 3 foot deep, 2 foot deep, it's hard to spread them out enough. So a little bit of a compromise. I've worked it out. We're gonna, 1 number 6 is 1 point. You can get these charts online. It's a bit of a faff, but I'm gonna put 5 number 4s on, which is 0.2 of a gram, and then 2 number 6, because 1 number 6 is 0.1, and then 6 number 8 plus the little link, because the little links have quite a bit of weight to them. When you're fishing really delicate pole floats, you only need a tiny little, sometimes the weight of the bait just bloop. Anyway, I'll show that, and then, so I don't want to bore you with watching me put on shot or watching my hands. So I've put on these shot, try and get them all lined up. Makes it more balanced. So there's 5 number 4s and 2 number 6s, and I've put them on right at the end. Don't put them on where you want them. What you need to do is you put them there and then slide them up, because it's when you crimp the line or when you bite the shot on, that's when you cause damage to the line. So you won't be able to see, but I'll slide them up, then they make a little groove in the shot, and then there's no damage on the line there, and it's only light line, so you don't want to give any weak points anywhere. So I'll slide them up, I'll sit them under the float, and that will act as a boom where that bit is. That will sit like that. I'll show you in a second. Hang on. So yeah, I've moved all the bulk up. That's it there. Come on, focus. No, it's not having it. Sorry. I've ordered a new phone and the GoPro, but the software is still a problem. But I don't know whether you'll be able to see this. Almost certainly not. But there's loads of damage on there. So when we come to tying on the link, that'll be our tag end for that. So I'm going to tie the little Clarissa, or oh, I've got the number 8s. How many number 8s do we need? Let's have a look. 6 number 8s. Right, let's get on and put them. So I've strung these out. I actually put a couple more number 8s on, and I tend to slide them down and use my finger as a marker as I'm sliding them down, so that they're all equidistant, and that helps when you're casting, that it's all balanced. The weight is under the float, most of it, because I tend to because I'm feeding maggots, I tend to cast it out, hold the float, put the feed out, wait for the feed and the float to catch up with each other, and then let it run through. The amount of times, if you run it through exactly when the feed's going through, you can tempt those wary chub and roach. So anyway, this bulk can go down to the bottom on a deeper swim, or if it's a bit boily. So I'll just put the Clarissa link on, and then we're done. Right, so we're all done with this little Clarissa link. I do like these. The only thing I don't like is when I'm putting these hook lengths on, sometimes, say these hook lengths, try and get these open. These are bloody brilliant. I've said before about them. Hooks to Go on Facebook, a guy called Jason. They are so good. It's just, oh, I can't. I used to sit and tie these things for hours and hours and hours when I was doing match fishing. It used to drive me mad. Generally, let's have a look. I've got them around the wrong way. Probably let's start with 18 on a 13. Kamasan B520s are my favourites. It's always fiddly. These are magnetic, they just slip in. So yeah, you get the little loop, and away you go. That goes on there. Excuse the sound of my boys arguing. So yeah, that's done. The only thing I don't like sometimes is, sometimes you might want a longer gap between the shot and the hook, the last shot. I know a lot of river anglers talk about a foot, but when it's only 2 foot deep and you've got an 8 number 4 float, where are you going to put all the weight? So maybe somebody needs to bring out a loaded stick float. So anyway, we put that on there, round and round she goes. So I'll duplicate these. That's the other good thing about these. There's enough room on there for 2. So there's nothing worse than you get a nice setup working all lovely, and then you chuck it up in a tree, and then you got to get it all set up again. So yeah, this is brilliant. I can be down the river with a pouch of maggots, and away we go. Look at that. I should label them up, but I know what they are. Anyway. Right, I hope you all like that video. I don't know how you're getting on with these tutorials, but YouTube, I think, is either entertainment or education. I'm not particularly entertaining, but I might be able to teach a few people a thing or two about how I catch fish down the river. Anyway, thank you all for liking and subscribing, and keep watching, and I'll keep going. Bye. Don't know how well you can see all this, but look at this snow today. There's loads of it. April the 11th, and it's snowing. It's going to settle as well.